Scott. Ask Scott.
Hey, what's up, Scott? This is John from New Hampshire. Love your stuff. Like to call you my Amazon pastor, leading me to the promised land flowing with milk and honey. Amen. All right, my situation is I've been on Amazon for about a year, really enjoying it. Love the adventure, love the challenge. Currently selling a product that's doing about 30 units a day. My PPC is running out of budget around 2 p.m., 3 p.m. My ACOS is between 20 and 30%. It's doing really well. And I'm looking at this and going, man, I could put more money into my budget and make more sales, which increases my ranking. If you didn't have any inventory and budget issues, would you just go for it? Would you just keep increasing until you milked it for all it's worth? That's not my situation, but I was just curious about what you would do typically. But then my question is, with the limited inventory I have and the limited budget that I'm working with currently, would you suggest staying steady and making sure that you have inventory and making sure that your budget is staying solid so that you can increase your business? Or do you increase your budget for your PPC, which makes you run out of inventory quicker, and it may shrink your budget just a little bit so that you can't necessarily start digging into new products immediately, but you get the sales rankings increasing, which are keywords increasing, which brings more sales. I'm curious what your thoughts are and how you would go about it. So I hope it's a good question, and look forward to hearing from you. Thank you.
Hey, John, thanks so much for the question, and thanks for the milk and honey. You know what I'm saying, right? That was cool. Yeah, so, okay, you've got a pretty interesting situation, and I think a lot of people listening would love to have that situation, including myself, right? You're telling me that you're running out of budget early in the day, and if you kept that budget running, that you could keep making more sales. So if I put $1 in, I get $2 out or $3 out, right? I mean, that's a dream come true if we can make that happen. The other thing that's going to happen is then you're going to start organically ranking for keywords, and then your pay-per-click, if you can even keep that going in, is profitable, and then you're organically getting sales. That's like the best of both worlds, right? Because a lot of times our pay-per-click is to help us drive sales so we can start ranking, for our keywords, so we can start ranking organically. So personally, it sounds like you have an inventory issue or a question of how much inventory do you want to have on hand. So that's really what it comes down to. And that can be scary, right? Because right now things are running really well, and you're like, this is cool, right? If I just keep giving, pay-per-click money, it's going to keep the sales coming. It's going to help me rank, and then, life is good. But what if I go and order 5,000 units or 10,000 units, and then all of a sudden Amazon, takes my legs out, right? Now, all of those sales that I was relying on through Amazon, I'm going to have a hard time getting rid of those things. It might take me 3 years to get rid of those things. And that's where you got to kind of have that balance, right? And you got to have your own risk tolerance of as far as like what you feel comfortable doing. So I don't think there's a right or wrong answer there. But what I would say is that, once you get the opportunity to start taking some of the money that you're earning and rolling that into an external funnel, which we talked about in episode 219 just recently, and 218, I think we talked about it as well. That's really like the next thing, because here's the deal. If for some reason something happened to Amazon and you have all those pieces of inventory, you're able to still sell them on your external channel as long as you can get external traffic. So that would be my only question there. So what I would probably do is I would try to scale it. Not like all at once. Like I would try to say, okay, because the other thing that can happen too is if you add more money to your budget, it may again give you more traffic, but that doesn't mean necessarily that all that additional traffic is going to convert, right? So you have to kind of do that slowly. So let's say, for example, like right now you are let's say, for example, you are spending $100 a day. Well, let's say, for example, you want to bring that up to $150 a day. And you do that, and you do get, maybe some additional sales, but then also you might see that your conversion might go down. So you do worse, as far as the spend. So it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to spend money, you're going to make more money. Hopefully that happens and it continues to happen. It probably will by the sounds of it, but you have to still test that slowly by increasing that number. But then the other thing is okay, how much inventory do you have right now? How much you are capable of buying more of? And if you can buy more inventory, and I say this kind of like at a slower pace, but yet if you're shipping it by boat, it's going to be a 3-month turnaround. If you're shipping it by air, you might be in a better situation. You get it every 30 days, and then you can predict or project what the 30-day run is going to be. So maybe if you're ordering 1,000 now, you might want to then say, let me try ordering 2,000. That way there you're inching your way up versus saying like, I'm just going to go for it and order, 15,000 units, right? So I guess what I'm saying is I would try to dial that up and try to see if I can keep bringing that budget up and continue to increase my sales. Now, the problem that you're saying is you're going to run out of inventory. So is it better to stay steady? Well, yes, it is, because you don't really want to run out of inventory, but I kind of got a feeling that even if you ran out of inventory and then you get inventory back in and you turn on your pay-per-click, you're probably going to get back up and running again. But I can't say for sure, right? I mean, that's always a risk that we take. But what you might want to do is just play around with what you're doing right now to keep the inventory in, order, a larger amount, maybe, an extra 500 or 1,000 pieces, depending on how much your product costs. I don't even know those details. I'm assuming it's something that you can afford at a lower price. But if you're selling a higher ticket price, right, something that's $60 and it costs you $20 or $30, you might only want to order an extra 100 units. So it really depends on your situation. But I would probably start by, number one, having more inventory on hand, and then starting to scale up the pay-per-click until I seen that my numbers weren't making sense anymore. And then you're going to also see that you're going to start ranking more organically, and then your sales will increase automatically there as well. I think that is the path that I would go down with your current situation. Okay, so hopefully this has helped you. Again, John, thank you so much for being a listener, and congratulations on the 30 sales a day. The other thing I would also like to add to this is I would probably start thinking about that second product or third product, right? I would start building that out so you're not relying on just that one product. Okay, so just a little side note there for you. Start doing that like ASAP. That's the one thing I definitely would be looking into as well. Well, hey there. Thank you so much for listening to that episode of Ask Scott. Now, that was just a highlight from one of our full episodes where I generally answer 3 to 4 questions on a podcast. If you want to go back and listen to all of the past archives of not just the Ask Scott session, but all of the full episodes where I do interviews with top Amazon sellers, people starting from scratch and building a business, if you want to listen to any of those episodes, head over to theamazingseller.com and you can find all of that over there. You can also find details there on how you can ask your own question and get it aired on an upcoming Ask Scott session, and possibly see it here on YouTube or just on the podcast. All right, so definitely head over to theamazingseller.com. There's tons of resources over there for you to be able to build your e-commerce and Amazon business, so definitely go check that out. Now, I just wanted to remind you one thing before I let you go. There's a lot of information out there, and some of it is really, really good. What I want you to remember is you have to not just consume the information, you have to actually apply that information. So take this information that you learned here today and apply it to your business, and this way here you can get results. As my shirt says, I wear it almost daily. Take action. We'll see you guys.